I have multiple and they're pretty and engraved. But neither here nor there. That is great gun control idea because guns don't kill people and they can also be 3D printed. So it doesn't matter where they're made. Um, yeah, I didn't need to say all that. Y'all got that point.
I mean, everybody said everything, so I agree. There's nothing more to say. He was a jerk. What he said was
occasionally I can land a plane somewhere.
Okay, guys. So I believe in balance and fairness here at the new party. So just like we gave it to old Mayor Johnson, we could talk about Ron DeSantis. So this week in Florida, a lot of people are fired up. They're mad, especially because I don't know if you guys know this, but we are the home of one of the biggest mass shootings in America, Pulse nightclub. It was about 6-7 years ago, and it was an unthinkable act where someone went in and unalived over 40 people, and many were injured. So due to that, they created a memorial for Pulse nightclub, and now Ron DeSantis has imposed a new law that many people are upset about, and we can break it down and talk about it tonight. Here in this clip, it talks about the protesters that are being arrested for changing the paint. Let me play it for you.
At the Crosswalk just outside of the Pulse nightclub here in Orlando put in handcuffs. Our West 2 crew followed the remaining protesters as they marched tonight from Pulse Crosswalk all the way to Orlando City Hall. West 2's Haley Crumblehome is live there this evening. And Haley, things have calmed down quite a bit tonight, but more protests are sure to come.
Yeah, that's right, Luana. Hearing from some of those protesters tonight, that was certainly a part of the conversation, was what comes next? What are we going to do next? Where do we take this next? And when they marched here to City Hall, they used chalk here as well. They wrote things like, "Chalk is not a crime," and "You can't erase us." Now, this march here, of course, came after 3 people were arrested at that crosswalk outside of Pulse. You could see 3 people being led away in handcuffs Sunday near the formerly Rainbow Crosswalk. Now, all 3 were loaded into Florida Highway Patrol cruisers, and they could be seen chalking the blank sidewalk back to its rainbow colors just minutes before. Blake Simons, an attorney with Simons Law Firm, represented the first protester to be arrested at the crosswalk Friday, Sebastian Suarez. He was released from jail after a judge found FHP had no probable cause to arrest him for his actions on Friday. Simons says he will be representing those arrested by FHP today.
We got Sebastian out for no probable cause under Florida Statute 316.0775. I returned after Sebastian was released for no probable cause, came out here to support the community that I am part of, informed the officers that just made those arrests that the case was just thrown out for lack of probable cause. Do you guys intend to continue arresting people unlawfully? They said yes.
Now, we witnessed some contentious interactions between troopers and protesters Sunday, and we reached out to FDOT and FHP Sunday night for comment. We last heard from FDOT Friday after reaching out about the potential for protesters to be arrested if they chalked the crosswalk. They responded saying vandalizing state property and or disrupting traffic in any way is unsafe and illegal. These illegal actions will not be tolerated and will be fully enforced by law enforcement. And we just got this in the last half hour or so. We now have the mugshots of the 3 people arrested today. Zane Aparicio, Donovan Short, and Mary Jane going to be representing them. He tells us that he expects they will be making their first appearances in court tomorrow morning. Covering Orange County Live.
So pretty much to give backstory before we all respond, Senate Bill 1662 was signed by Governor DeSantis in mid-June 2025. It directly impacted the Florida Department of Transportation to enforce uniform traffic policy. So due to that, Ron DeSantis has then said he's going to remove it, like any paintings, anything like on the ground, like the ones you guys saw in DC. And so as somebody that lives in Florida and our resident MAGA Republican, what is your thoughts on DeSantis doing this?
DeSantis is a fucking radical. Let's say that. Like, you're talking about something painted on the ground after one of the worst mass shootings in the United States in history. One of the many things that I don't agree with DeSantis and why I wouldn't vote for him in the 2024 election when he ran. He's a radical, and just imagine that 50 statewide. He did a lot of good for Florida, I'll say that, but I mean, just the direction that he's going. with all of this. Like, I didn't agree with the "Don't Say Gay" bill that they put forward in Florida whatsoever. I mean, certain aspects of it I agree with, but altogether, no. Like banning certain books in Florida, didn't agree with that either. I'm just gonna chalk it up to him just being a radical.
Damn. Well, maybe you and Skeptic might have something y'all agree on. I'm about to call on her next. Skeptic, what's your thoughts? You agree with Enzo? Is he a radical, or do you think that we should remove the crosswalks for safety?
He is a radical, and I will say Republicans can no longer claim that they're for small government, because in Texas, they just want to do things to make us unhappy. Like, they just like, why? Okay, here we are talking about actual history being erased, and this whitey man, I don't care what his last name is worried about the sidewalk. Like, it's kind of crazy and petty. And I'll say here in Texas, where I live, they're going to outlaw flavored vapes. Like, why? They just want to make you uncomfortable. Like, they really want to make your life a little bit less comfortable. Like, they're going to outlaw the like weed pens that were whatever, THC or whatever they were. So it's like, it's just crazy why you have the time to worry about this when you should be worrying about actual things that matter. Like, it's just, you want to provoke people to be angry and to be uncomfortable and not be able to live their life. Like, for the party that claims to be small government or not want, all of these intrusions into your personal life, is giving you lost what you stood for.
Oof. Wow. Mia, do you agree? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't have just made an exception for this one particular sidewalk or set of sidewalks in that building, or at minimum, maybe put a different memorial up there to replace it and just do a compromise. Be like, we have to get rid of this to bring it to code, but I'm going to replace it with this. I mean, there is a way to compromise, and it just seems like nobody wanted to. And to be honest, considering like 50 people died. I feel like it's kind of rude of them to just completely glaze over that, try to erase it, and not try to give them something else to replace it, which would have been a much better compromise. I feel like it's a little extreme.
Well, I'm going to play Ron DeSantis's response and for his explanation why it was banned, and then I'll let the rest of the team respond. This is actually from today. This was at a press conference that he did where he responded.
Commandeer someone else's property. You have a First Amendment right to paint your own property and knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. But when you have a state crosswalk or a state road, the law in the state of Florida is now that there's not markings, or that's not going to be used for those purposes. FDOT issued a memo to explain that a couple months ago. Everybody's been on notice about that. But, this is kind of an instructive civics lesson here. You do not have a right to take somebody else's property for your messaging purposes. Like, that's never been what the First Amendment has said. And, we just got to be clear on that. And I'd also say, I've approved a lot of money for a Pulse Memorial. Where is it? Why haven't they gotten that done? A lot of money has been frittered away over the years. I think I'm certainly supportive of an actual fitting memorial for people that were murdered that day. One of the most horrific mass killings in American history. Yeah, I've approved a lot of money for that over the years. But that's not for some crosswalk. That's not to do those other things that are different from state law. So look, what I will say is this: most places in Florida, 95%, and there were other things that were marking before this bill went in. We had Blue Lives Matter, which, I've been supportive of that. But, we're not going to use our roads for that, right? And so hang up a flag, do what you want on your building, your house, however you want to do it. But we're not going to be doing that on our state roadways. And I think this is the best policy. I think it's just, some of the stuff that was going on, over the last couple years, it's just, it's too much to have this. And then what will happen is it creates safety hazards. One, people just seeing it, but then you have some people who may disagree with the message, and then they're incentivized to try to like peel out or something. Now they get held, but it's just, why are we even, going down this road? So we are going to make sure that, that law is enforced in an even-handed way. I don't care what your message is. Use it by yourself. You can say it. You can project it how you want on your property. You can do all the things that we've always been able to do, but just don't use other people's property.
So now that we have a very clear explanation from Governor DeSantis, Gray, and you are a Floridian, what's your thoughts? Do you agree with this, or do you think that he was a radical, like Enzo said?
I think Ron DeSantis is trying to stay relevant. Trump endorsed Byron Donalds to be the governor. He ignored DeSantis' wife. And then DeSantis still went down there at Alligator Alcatraz and still did a photo op with Trump. And DeSantis and his wife are being accused of Medicaid fraud for when they had the money diverted to $10 million diverted to a charity that she was overseeing. So I think Ron DeSantis is using these tactics to stay relevant, to still be talked about, because he was supposed to be the next guy in MAGA. He was supposed to take it on after Trump was done. And he did that by Me Too. He did that in St. Pete. He covered up the pride stuff over here. And even though Florida's very red, Florida's very gay. There's a lot of gay people out here. There's a lot of gay stuff going on.
Heaven, what do you think? Do you agree?
Where's all the money that he said was going to something? He should probably find that. If they were going to do an actual memorial, maybe that's something he should look at, considering that's government taxpayer money, instead of worrying about where people are painting. Why don't you find that tax money that you just said you had to put aside?
It was Medicaid fraud. It was a charity
for the Pulse. Yeah, he was just saying that he had given money for an actual memorial for the Pulse nightclub. So where's that? That's taxpayer money. If you're saying that's missing too, so maybe we should look into that, and you shouldn't worry about what citizens are painting. You should find that government money, because that's that waste, fraud, and abuse that everybody likes to talk about. It doesn't matter, red state, blue state, they all do it.
Damn. Kamal, what do you think? You think this is too radical? I mean, you're from the state where it's like everything's okay. You could put any flag up you want. You could paint. You could spray paint as long as it's freedom of expression. It's like the Wild Wild West where you're from.
And I'll say this. I really don't give a fuck about him pulling up the goddamn gay blocks and shit like that. But this give me an opportune time to talk about this honky. Ron DeSantis gets on my motherfucking nerves. And it's a very opportune time to play this goddamn drop right here. Y'all wanted me to play more sound effects.
It's just Tuesday. The same old cracker.
And it is just Tuesday. And it is the same ass cracker saying the same ass bullshit. All right? God damn, I almost threw up when you said Ron DeSantis' name. You feel me? And then I didn't even know he over here crying because Trump ain't endorsing him. He sound like a bittered widow or something. Like, he like, oh my God, Trump, why you don't endorse me? Man, this motherfucker is a failure as a politician at this point. So he doing anything and everything to stay in the limelight. You feel me? But off this subject, I gotta clown somebody in the chat, because I dare you call Gray a monkey with your weak ass. Only monkey is the one that we see is your mom fucking. And I'm about to call Peter on her ass. Now, Mighty Squishy 6'9", I dare you call this black man a monkey. You motherfucker. Anyway, back to Ron DeSantis. You feel me? Look, we see the writing on the wall. He not getting endorsed by Trump. And at the end of the day, when politicians start losing, they got to go to drastic measures. All right? That's all I got to say.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.